You ever tap a button in an app and just kind of marvel at how it all works? I mean, how does your phone talk to a dozen different systems in a fraction of a second? Well, behind that simple tap, there's this hidden, incredibly complex world. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the unsung hero that makes it all possible, the API gateway. Now, to really get why a gateway is so important, you first have to understand the problem it's solving. See, modern apps aren't just one single giant piece of code anymore. They're more like a team of highly trained specialists, or what we in the biz call microservices. And wow, you can really see the problem right here. On the left, that's the before picture. It is a complete mess, a spaghetti monster of connections. The app on your phone has to know how to talk to every single one of those services. If one of them changes, the whole app could break. But then you look at the right. So clean, so simple. The app has one job, talk to that one box. That's Just think about a shopping app for a second. There isn't just one app program running on a server somewhere. Nope. There's a separate little service just for handling your user account. There's another one just for checking product inventory. And there's a completely different, super secure one just for processing your payments. Each one is its own mini application, doing one thing really well. Right, so what happens when you hit that big Buy Now button? Suddenly, your app has to juggle all these different conversations at the exact same time. It has to check your account, confirm the stock, process the payment without some kind of central coordinator. It's just a recipe for disaster. It's slow, it's messy, and honestly, it is a huge security nightmare. So, how do we solve this microservice maze? Well, the solution is actually pretty elegant. We give the entire sprawling system one single front door, and that is the API gateway. At its very core, the gateway is exactly what you see here. It's just a central server that sits right between your phone and all those busy backend services. So instead of you having to run around knocking on a dozen different doors, you just knock on one. The gateway figures out the rest for you. That's really the simplest way to think about it. Every single request your app makes goes through this one managed entry point. And that simple idea has absolutely massive implications for security, for performance, and for the sanity of the people building these things. So what does this front door actually do? Well, it's not just a door. It's more like a highly skilled building manager that just so happens to have a few different superpowers. So let's break down its core jobs. First and foremost, the API gateway is your system's head of security. Think of it as a bouncer at an exclusive club. It stands right at the front door and decides who gets in and who doesn't. And this is just brilliant because it centralizes all the security in one place. The gateway handles two critical jobs. First, authentication. That's basically proving who you are. And second, authorization, which is checking what you're actually allowed to do. By putting all of this responsibility on the gateway, those individual services in the back are freed up. They don't have to worry about security. They can just do their job. It's incredibly efficient. Okay, next up, the gateway puts on its traffic cop hat. It's totally responsible for managing the flow of all the incoming requests to keep everything running smoothly and prevent digital gridlock. And this control comes in two main flavors. You've got rate limiting, which basically prevents any one user from flooding the system with a million requests at once. And then it acts as a load balancer, intelligently directing traffic to different servers so no single one gets overwhelmed. It's like a cashier opening up a new lane when the line gets too long. Have you ever seen this error code? 429, too many requests? Yeah, well, guess what? That is the API gateway in action. That's the traffic cop putting up its hand and saying, hey, slow down. You've hit your limit for now. It might feel like just an error, but it's actually a vital protective shield for the entire system. So the gateway's next job is to be a kind of universal translator because, not all services, especially older ones, speak the same language as our modern apps. This is where it does something called request transformation. The gateway can literally change the language of a request into something the backend can understand and then translate the response back for the app. As a little bonus, it also uses caching, which is like storing the answers to common questions so it doesn't have to bother the backend every single time. It's all about being smart and efficient. So, for example, let's say you have an older inventory system that still communicates using a format like XML. It's perfectly functional, it does its job, but your brand new mobile app has no earthly idea how to read it. Well, the gateway just steps right in. It takes that old XML and poof, it instantly transforms it into modern JSON that the app understands perfectly. This means old and new systems can work together in perfect harmony without anyone having to rewrite a single line of code. Just think about that for a second. That is incredibly powerful. Okay, theory is great, but let's see how this all comes together in the real world. Let's follow the journey of something we can all relate to, a food delivery order. All right, so you tap Place Order. Instantly, that one single request hits the API gateway. First, the gateway acts as the security guard, checking your ID. Then it becomes the coordinator, sending out little jobs to the inventory service, the payment service, and the delivery service all at once. Once it gets an OK back from all of them, it bundles everything into one simple confirmation and sends it back to your phone. And all you see is order confirmed. Beautiful. So when you zoom out, you can really start to see the true purpose of the API gateway. It's not just a piece of technology, it's more like a design philosophy. And this really is the whole point. The user on their phone gets a fast, simple, and totally reliable experience. They have no idea about the complex choreography happening in the background. And you know what? They shouldn't have to. The gateway handles all that chaos for them. And the results really speak for themselves. With a gateway, applications can scale way more easily, because you can add or update services without breaking the main app. The entire system is more secure thanks to that single, hardened entry point. And of course, developers can work much more efficiently, since they're not all rebuilding the same security and traffic rules for every single little service. So the next time you order food or buy a concert ticket with just a single tap, remember that invisible coordinator, the API gateway, that's making it all seem so effortless. It really makes you wonder what other invisible systems are out there, quietly running the complex machinery of our digital world.